I used to be in management, and when I'd interview people for the job, I would give full disclosure. And I tell them all the things, the hardships of the job, the challenges of the job, the things that they might not like about the job, because it's really important that people see the full picture, to know what to expect. And one, it makes it a lot easier when hiring people because you're not training them and then they find out this is not for them. And full disclosure in relationships, full disclosure in all things kind of clears a plate, gives us a clean conscience, and is the best way to operate. It creates the least amount of that internal angst, violation of the conscience or guilt. And I think a lot of people really, as far as awakening, they don't know what to expect. They don't know the perilous road that lays before them when they kind of separate from the herd, when they decide, you know what, I do want to be a black sheep. There's more freedom, there's more authenticity, there's more passion, there's more feeling like I'm alive and being true to myself. But also that should be counterbalanced with the costs. And the costs are high. One thing is, when a lot of people walk down the spiritual path or want to awaken, we still want all the benefits of the material world, the physical world. And it's like we still want to have the best of both worlds. And it really is a situation where you can't have your cake and eat it too, because what ends up happening is you vacillate between two worlds, and there's an internal disharmony. And you can't figure out why you're not making progress spiritually, why you're not making progress, materially. It's because you're caught in limbo. And going back to the previous video, Walk Alone, it takes that jump. But before one takes the jump, it's really important to know what to expect. And one thing is that you guaranteed you're going to expect disapproval. You're going to lose possibly you're going to lose your circle of friends. Family might not approve of you when you no longer conform. You're going to feel a sense of loneliness, and that loneliness really, in the beginning, it can be oppressive until we embrace it and use that energy to go within and to become our own best friend. As cliche as that might sound, but you become your own best friend and you learn to appreciate and gravitate towards solitude. And the higher you climb up the spiritual mountain, or the awakening or the enlightenment intellectual mountain, as you climb up, the fewer and fewer people there are, and the lonelier it gets, because most people are so inured and trapped in the matrix or the world that they don't have the resources to devote towards awakening. So there's a lot of people, congregating at the bottom, the masses at the bottom of the mountain, and then, some people that are able to kind of realize what truth is and incorporate into their lives, or, towards the middle of the mountain. And then as you go further up, just expect to be lonelier and lonelier. But that loneliness can be a blessing when it's channeled properly. And there's a great book called Party of One, and it talks about this issue, and it also goes back in history and talks about things that were accomplished by great geniuses or great people were people that were generally more solitary, because you have to become more solitary, because that's the only way these ideas, these gifts, this art, the music, whatever it is that's within you, can flourish outward when you kind of shut the door to external influence and external pressure. So it really does challenge people to step out of their comfort zone and sort of embrace disapproval. You embrace disapproval and you're on the right track. And I love this. I'm saying that's whatever the masses are doing, run as fast and as far as you can in the opposite direction. And that's a good general guide to measure yourself. Are you mired down in materialism, consumerism, debt, financial woes, a job you don't like, unhappy marriage, eating improperly, foods that are poisoning you, not exercising, overweight, all these things that the masses seem to just naturally flow towards. You could say, am I moving in that direction? And if you're not, that's a good way to gauge you're probably on the right track. The next thing is you expect to not be rich, expect to be poor. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be impoverished and homeless, but it does mean that you're no longer using your energy, your valuable, limited life energy at grinding out a living. Your life energy is now being utilized towards a higher pursuit. So financial struggles can happen if we don't embrace radical simplicity. The other thing is relationships, romantic relationships. You narrow, the further up the mountain you climb, you've just dramatically narrowed the field of compatible matches. And so it takes a patience, it takes a putting yourself out there, a consistency of whether it be online dating, whether it be, I've met some very interesting people through YouTube, putting yourself out there. Meetup.com is another really great organization that you can find like-minded people. But romantic relationships, I think they lose their importance of, I need to find someone, that no longer becomes an overriding mission of our life, because there is a lot of pressure in society. Everyone feels like they have to get married, they have to raise children, start a family, get a house, and all these things. And when you're inwardly content, those external things lose power. So you don't feel the sense of emptiness, that this will solve your emptiness by finding a mate or a spouse or being in a relationship. There's a contentment, so there's less of that drive that this is going to complete me. And that's just an illusion. Look how many divorces we have. Look how many people are in unhappy relationships, because they didn't start with the whole product, and they're combining dysfunction with a dysfunction, and obviously that's going to create chaos, as we have seen in the divorce rate. The other thing is the external things become less important, like clothing, the car you drive, and that's going to also create resistance among people. How can you dress like that, and things like that. I love a saying by Albert Einstein. Someone was visiting him, and his wife said, "Albert, you have somebody, or you have a visitor, you're going to dress like that?" And Albert's response was, "Did he come to see me or my clothes?" And just again, that is just something that's not important, and you expect to encounter resistance in that. Some of the other things is you're going to self-doubt, because usually we are ingrained to measure ourselves by other people's approval and disapproval, and that's from a very young age. That's how we find out we are succeeding in school, succeeding with our parents. We get positive feedback, we get pats on the back, and we as adults continue to crave that. And no longer expect that. You're going to have to be internally driven, and you'll find that you'll doubt yourself because you start measuring yourself subconsciously in that old habit pattern of what other people think of you. And it creates the doubt. So it's just, again, reaffirming and trusting that inner instinct, that inner drive. That you are on the right path and you're on the right track. And the last thing that, before I run out of time, that is really important is that you'll find that the things that used to satisfy you or normally satisfied you, and going out, superficial conversations, or meaningless entertainment, or the distractions that occupy most people's lives, jobs and stuff like that, you'll find that you're not going to feel that same sense of fulfillment, of passion, that the bar will be raised high. So that means you have to put yourself out and exert more energy towards living a synchronistic life. So going out and not just doing a job for a paycheck, but finding a job you're passionate about and love, and finding things that you're passionate about and love. And thanks for listening. Bye.